Let's start our operation of the TriCaster by looking at video switching. This is the core functionality found on your TriCaster system. So here we can see on the interface, I have the switcher panel in the middle of the screen. And to start with, I want you to notice that there are two types of switcher panels we can choose from. There is the standard switcher, which is what we're looking at right now. This has 2 rows of buttons. And there's one called the express switcher, and this has a single row of buttons. Only one of these can be selected at a time. And we're going to start our training looking at the standard switcher. And this is the one you normally want to use, but if you're brand new to video switching and you've never done this before, you might want to start with the express switcher. It's a little simpler and easier to use. Once you get comfortable with that, you can then move up to the standard switching interface. We will cover how the express switcher works in the next video, but let's start with the standard switcher because this is what most people are going to use. You'll notice there's 2 rows of buttons. There is one labeled PGM for program and one labeled PREV for preview. And these have a red and green set of buttons. These buttons go with these 2 video monitors in the upper right area. Notice one's got a red frame and the other one's got a green frame around it. Whatever button is clicked on the program row is going to show up in this monitor, and whatever button is clicked on in the preview row is going to show up on this monitor. Now, the typical workflow for this is what's called a program preview workflow. And the way this operates is that you pick the next camera you want to use on preview, and then we'll use an appropriate transition to bring it to program. Let me show you an example. Let's say I want to put input 1 is what I want to go to next. I'm going to select input 1 on preview. Input 1 shows up on the preview monitor. This gives me, as the operator, the ability to verify that I have the correct source selected, it's in focus and it's framed properly. And then when I'm ready to bring it to program, I can do one of 2 things. I can do a take, which will do an instant cut to bring it over, or I can do a transition, which by default is going to be a fade. Let's do a cut to start with. We can do that by clicking on this button called take right over here. And when I click on it, you'll see that what was on preview has now switched over to the program monitor. Now you might have not noticed, but it also switches what was on program to preview. So really these 2 monitors will flip-flop every time you click one of these buttons. But now our person is on program. This is what everybody who is watching the show would be seeing, and we are free to go select our next source. So let's say we want to go to camera 2. I would select camera 2 on preview. You can see now it is on the preview monitor, and when we're ready to bring this to air, I would hit take, and you can see that now camera 2 is on program, and camera 1, which was on program before, has now moved to preview again. And then the preview is now opened up for the next camera we want to select. Now, if we want to do a transition instead, you would just select your camera, let's say camera 4, and then instead of hitting take, which is always going to be a cut, we can click on auto, which will perform a fade effect. And we'll look later how to change this transition to something else, but you can see that every time you hit auto, it's just going to do a fade to bring that to air. And that's the core of video switching using the switcher panel. Select what you want on preview and use the take or auto button to bring that channel to program.